I've been working in my studio for over 2 months now, and since I want to document my journey as a tattoo artist, but also share what I've learned with those of you who might be interested in taking similar steps, I thought it would be good to talk about the whole process and what I think is important to consider if you are planning on opening a studio. First thing to consider is whether you want to have a public or a private studio or some sort of co-working space. The last option is probably only a good idea. Well, I don't know if it's a good idea. I mean, maybe it is if there is still a person who's in charge, who's responsible for decision making, and someone everyone can talk to if something's not working. But I really can't imagine it otherwise. Even if everyone in the studio is best friends and want the same thing and seem to have the same vision, there's always an issue they won't agree on, and at some point things will fall apart. Artists wanting to create more of an art studio rather than a business might think otherwise, but I believe structure is necessary for a studio to survive. I decided to go for a small private studio because I didn't want to depend on other people. I wanted to make sure I can cover the rent, the bills, and all other expenses by myself. So having more artists working with me in here would be some sort of support and good company rather than an extra stress factor. I think hiring a manager or a front of house would be a little too much of a responsibility for me at the moment, and I believe having someone like this is necessary for a public studio where people can call or walk in during the day. At the beginning, I didn't think about how many artists I would like to have here because I didn't know if any would be interested. But Anna, who works here, approached me even before the studio was ready. And now after 2 months, I felt like we could easily have more people because the both of us work different days and hours. So most of the time I'm here just with a client, and I would like to bring more energy into the space. However, I'm aware, and you should remember about it too, that the more people you have working with you, the more opportunities to build beautiful relationships, but also more responsibilities and issues coming in your direction. So I would recommend to really think about what you want from your studio and consider all options. One of the most important factors in finding the right place for my studio was the location. I wanted it to be accessible for clients no matter where they are coming from or how they are getting here. To be relatively close to where I live because I used to spend an hour and a half or so commuting before, and even though I like driving and having that time for myself to reset after work, 20 minutes is definitely enough. I also wanted to be in an area where clients who are coming from outside of the city can make the most out of Bristol, and so can I in my lunch breaks or after work. Even though opening a big studio for many artists wasn't my plan, I still wanted the premises to be spacious so it doesn't get cramped easily. And here is an important thing to remember if you are based in the UK. The size of your premises will have an impact on whether you pay business rates and how much. It can be a big addition to your expenses, so make sure to remember about it when looking for a space and check with your council if those are applicable. And next is refurbishing, decorating, etc. Since it's my first studio, I didn't want to risk signing a long lease. Simultaneously, I didn't want to invest a lot of money in the premises. But we need to remember that not every space is suitable for a tattoo studio. Apart from the toilet, you have to have a hand wash and dirty sink in the room where you are actually tattooing. The floor has to be easy to clean. All surfaces have to be accessible for cleaning. So this can seem like little things, but they can stop you from getting your license, or you would have to put some money to change those things. And this takes us to my next point. Every city council in the UK has different requirements which you will need to meet to acquire a studio license. This is a different document from a tattoo artist license. Everyone working in the shop has to have their personal one, and another one is required for the premises itself. In my case, it was an easy process. I filled in the form via Bristol City Council website, paid something around £140, and in less than a week someone got in touch to book an appointment, which was in the next 2 weeks. During the appointment, we went through all the points I just mentioned, as well as cleaning products, whether I sterilize my equipment or work with single-use grips, my consent form and aftercare instructions. And the only thing they weren't happy was one of my sinks, which was previously used in a screen printing studio, so it was quite heavily stained, and even though it's not in the room where I'm tattooing, they were worried about cross-contamination, but as soon as I renovated it and sent the picture, I received my license. In terms of finances, you really don't have to break the bank to open a tattoo studio. There is equipment available for every budget, you just need to make smart decisions. I didn't want to invest in the big heavy tattoo beds because, like I said before, I don't want the studio to stop me from moving around, and the difference in price between those massage beds and adjustable tattoo chairs is at least £500 or even £1,000, and I wanted the stations to be cohesive, so it would cost me a lot more and then it would be a burden if I wanted to close the studio. However, I went for a higher end cabinets because I felt like they will really influence the vibe and the whole aesthetics of the room. The same for the armrest and printer, because these are the things that make my job much easier if working properly. I was happy to spend a little bit more. And in terms of decorating the place, you can start minimal and work on it as you go. In my case, big prints, timeless chairs and a beautiful rug do the job, and I can slowly, with consideration, add more stuff over time. For many, it will be a massive step in their career, possibly quite an overwhelming one, but I truly believe anyone can do it. I felt very lucky to find this premises so quickly. It was the first viewing I had, but now I just feel like it was the right time. So don't rush any decision in this process. Think what you want the studio to bring into your life and go for it when you're ready. I hope you found this useful, and if you have any questions or tips for others, leave them in the comments below, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Thank you very much.